Hey everyone, I wanted to take a few moments to do a review or an overview of a really great product that I found in these Neo Geo custom arcade sticks made by Retro Stockpile. And so I hadn't really had a reason to do any kind of video on anything that I've done. I've been in the retro gaming hobby for a little while and hadn't come across anything that really made me want to do a video because everything that I either purchased or had done mod-wise had already been covered to death by somebody else multiple times over. But what I found was there weren't really any reviews on this particular product from, again, Retro Stockpile. And these have been for sale for a little while, and I just think they're kind of flying under the radar because they're a really awesome product. And really, this particular company, Retro Stockpile, is a one-man show, I believe, but the guy who runs it is a really big Neo Geo fan. He's a collector, he loves to play these games. You can tell in the quality of his work. These control sticks are just really well thought out and just really well done. And what I found was I was looking for something like this, and I couldn't find anything that was actually in stock. And this is not a new concept to build something like this. This is actually something that a lot of people have done, but what you'll find is there's not a lot of people out there that actually have these ready to sell. But he did, and I bought a couple of these, and man, I've been really happy with them, very pleased. And what led me down this road actually was I got into the Neo Geo a little late, even in the retro collecting world, and I never really had one as a kid. Obviously, I mean there was a legendary console, but nobody that we knew actually had one. It seemed like it was kind of something that you heard somebody maybe possibly had one type of thing. So I wasn't really well versed in Neo Geo, but I found that when I received it, the stock control, the kind of original control that came with the AES, which is legendary in the sense that it's a very iconic control, probably as iconic as you can get. But what you find is when you get it, the usability is really not that great. I mean, there's a few flaws that really keep it from being a really great controller. One of them is cosmetic. You can see the ball here. I don't know if you can see in this light, but very easily is prone to cracking. These buttons, the responsiveness is not really there. And even though there's micro switches in this control, as they age, they tend to not really be as responsive as they used to be. So I mean, it looks great, it looks the part, but using it, it's kind of a different story. So it led me down the road to try to find something better. And again, I found this one. This is actually the first control I bought from Retro Stockpile. And this is the one that's obviously made to look very much like the MVS arcade console. And it just looks great. I mean, look at the colors on the buttons and the stick and the red and white stripes. Very well done. Just an awesome job. Great attention to detail. And the tops on these are actually like acrylic based. So there's acrylic, and then they have the kind of underlay underneath them to give the color. And obviously there's two different things that are going on here. This one is the AES themed one, and this one again is the MVS. Now the parts that are inside here are actually Senmitsu parts, and I know that Sanwa is another really popular brand for arcade buttons and control sticks, but I've had no problems with these. From what I understand, it's like 6 of one, half a dozen another as far as preference, which one is better, which one is preferred. But again, I've had no problems with these. These are the ones he prefers to use, and it works really well. The stick is actually, this particular model has the octagonal restrictor gate inside it, so you get a full range of movement in like a 360 motion. For something like Zanga spinning pile driver, it feels much more natural, much more smooth. Whereas the original had a square 4-point restrictor gate. So you can hit the 4 corners and it's kind of a square motion here. Whereas this one is, kind of a natural 360. And both of these are built off of those as well, so the AES one as well. But the beauty of this is if you wanted you didn't want the 8, you wanted the 4, this guy, he offers basically any level of customization you want. So if you preferred one to the other, he could do it that way. Again, I specified I wanted the 8 and he made it that way. So I think originally, I think it's a Japanese controllers are generally 4. I think that like the original Neo Geo was 4. But what you would find in US arcades was actually more of an 8. So this is, what I preferred, so what I asked him to make mine with. And that's really the great thing about Retro Stockpile is that he's open to whatever you want. And in fact, even though this was the first one I purchased from him, and he had it already pre-built, other than the 8-way restrictor gate, I actually commissioned another one, a custom control, and which is this one, to look more like the AES theme. And aesthetically speaking, it really does match the original with the black and the Neo Geo logo, the AES. And again, I asked him to specifically make this one, and in fact, I actually changed the dimensions a bit on this one. His stock size is this one, and to give you kind of an idea of where that is versus the original control, I'm going to put it kind of top to bottom here so you can see. And you can see it's considerably larger, which is perfect for like something like a coffee table or countertop, something like that. But my particular setup that I have right now is kind of more likely to be something that you would use on your lap. So when I commissioned this next one, I made it to be much more to the size of the original Neo Geo stock AES controller, arcade stick controller. And I think it worked out really well. It's definitely much more comfortable in a lap. Not to say this is unusable, but this one was just a little bit more of a better fit for what I was trying to do for the next one. But again, this is all preference, and top to bottom, this control, either one of these controls, is better than the standard AES control all the way across the board. I mean, the cord length is bumped up to 6 feet from 3 on the original, which was barely even usable. So it was awesome to actually have like a usable length on these, and that comes standard. That's not a special request. It's just kind of how he builds them. So yeah, I mean, these work. Obviously, I have an Omega consoleized MVS here from ArcadeWorks and a standard Neo Geo. Both of these work interchangeably with no problems. Just an awesome controller. To the point where they're so good that my previous favorite original Neo Geo controller, which is the pad that came with the Neo Geo CD, and obviously the aforementioned arcade stick, these almost never get used at this point. I mean, these have spoiled me to the point where I just don't even want to use anything else. And now that I have the ability to have 1 player and 2 player, there's really no need to go back to those. And it's just an awesome experience. I mean, and again, there was other options out here that were similar to these sticks, but again, they're not in stock. Or if you look at some of the more popular options like Gemination X, which was one of the ones that continues to come up when you do like a search for something like this, I reached out to him via his website, and he just never responded. So it's kind of the nature of the beast when you do something like this. It's like there's so many more people that want these than you can actually keep up with as far as building them. So it gets to the point where not only can they not build them, they sometimes just don't respond. And so that's kind of the nature of the beast with this. I'll kind of show you the side here. You can see these are the actual selected start buttons here on the side. And it's just a shot of the back where the cord would go. Let's see here. Here's the AES version. And again, I had this one all done in black to kind of mirror what was going on with the original AES control. But I've had no problems with these controls. I mean, they've been awesome. I mean, they feel very much like the original arcade controls for the MVS brought home, which was the whole idea here. So if you're out there looking for a control that replaces the original unit and does a much better job across the board, you can't go wrong with the Retro Stockpile. And for each one of these that you buy, he'll actually do a custom box. They'll come in this custom box. This is Retro Stockpile, and they're really well made. I mean, it's just quality through and through. And also, he'll throw in, at least for mine, he threw in these really cool Neo Geo and SNK stickers, which just makes the deal that much better. So yeah, so if you have any questions or anything like that about these, feel free to leave a question in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer. And again, these are for sale. I'll put a link in the description for where you can buy these from Retro Stockpile. And they're, as of today, as of this video being made, these are out here ready to be purchased. So give it a shot if you're in the market for one. I don't think you can go wrong.